You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Wednesday, May 13. I'd like to share some thoughts about real estate. If you are a foreign investor in Seoul right now, you might feel like, well, the math has suddenly stopped working.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we are seeing apartments in traditionally cheaper northern districts commanding monthly rents that are basically equivalent to carrying a $500,000 mortgage.
Right, which is exactly why today we're doing a deep dive into Seoul's housing squeeze.
Exactly. We'll be moving from those surging northern rents to recent regulatory tweaks, and finally, looking at some serious pricing distortions in new builds.
Sounds good.
So let's start with the No-Do gang area. That's Nowon, Dobong, and Gangbuk. Listings there have plummeted over 50% year over year.
Which is a massive, massive drop.
It really is. In Gangbuk, a unit at the Myeongdong Hanwha Farina just hit 3.1 million won, or $2,210 USD, for monthly rent.
That is just unheard of for that area.
Yeah, I mean, compare paying 2 to 3 million won, so 1,430, 2,150 USD in rent, to carrying a mortgage on a 600 million won, or $430,000 USD home loan. The financial burden is identical.
Exactly. And the mechanism driving this is, well, a fundamental collapse in rental supply.
Right.
As foreign investors, you're probably familiar with Jeonse, right? That unique Korean system where a massive lump sum deposit, usually 50 to 70% of a home's value, replaces monthly rent.
Yeah, of course.
Well, multi-homeowner tax penalties are forcing landlords to liquidate their assets, which completely obliterates that Jeonse supply.
So tenants who would normally rely on a deposit are being pushed directly into the monthly rent pool.
Right. Demand is simply overwhelming a shrinking pipeline. I mean, in Dobong, there are massive complexes with over 2,000 units showing absolute zero monthly rent listings.
Wow, zero. So to alleviate this bottleneck, the government is adjusting regulations in Tohyo-guyok.
Right, the land transaction permission zone.
Exactly. For anyone navigating these policies, usually if you buy property there, you're required to move in immediately to prevent speculative flipping.
Yep.
But now they're granting a 2-year residency waiver for all tenanted homes.
Right, letting investors buy them and basically delaying the move-in requirement until the current lease expires.
And I guess the theory is that unlocking these tenanted properties will, inject liquidity and keep units in the rental market.
For now, yeah. But the structural flaw in that logic is pretty severe. The waiver doesn't cancel the residency mandate.
It just delays it.
Right. It merely delays it to May 2028 at the absolute latest.
Wait, so if the buyer still has to move in eventually, we aren't actually creating new rental supply, are we?
No, not at all.
We're just putting a countdown clock on existing units. Like, if an elderly owner who was renting out their unit sells to a new buyer, that unit is permanently removed from the rental pool by 2028.
That is the danger. By delaying the move-in date rather than removing the requirement, the policy essentially guarantees future scarcity.
Wow.
As an investor, you have to factor in that this could accelerate the exact shortage driving those record northern rents.
Which puts incredible pressure on finding new supply. But if you look at new builds, the pricing structure feels completely detached from reality.
Detached is a very good word for it.
We looked at 18 Seoul apartment complexes and found that construction costs in non-price capped areas are up to 3 times higher than in capped areas. Let's look at the data here.
Okay.
A capped project in Gangnam had construction costs making up about 19.5% of the sale price.
Makes sense.
But an uncapped project in Dongjak-gu by the identical builder saw construction costs consume 54.9% of the sale price.
That is a huge, huge jump.
Right. That's a 15 million won, or $10,750 USD gap for 3.3 square meters. Are they building the Dongjak-gu site out of titanium?
Well, this requires looking closely at Bunsongjae, which is Korea's sale price ceiling system.
Right.
In a capped Bunsongjae zone, the land value is appraised strictly, and that heavily squeezes developer margins.
They can't just overcharge.
Exactly. But outside those zones, reconstruction project cooperatives utilize a loophole. Because they aren't capped on the final sale price, they bundle extravagant amenities.
Like what?
Like high-end imported fixtures or, excessive luxury landscaping. And then they classify all of that as construction costs.
So it's essentially creative accounting. They inflate the baseline cost to justify a massive premium on the final sticker price.
You got it.
Yeah.
The mechanism allows developers to extract maximum returns under the guise of rising material expenses.
unbelievable.
So the premium you pay in an uncapped area heavily reflects developer cost allocation rather than a proportional increase in genuine asset quality.
Which leaves you with a tough reality check to consider. I mean, the government is rolling out state interventions this month, right?
Yeah, like the Jeonse public housing program.
Right, offer units at 90% of market rates. But you really have to wonder if a public supply initiative can actually cool this market down.
Especially when developers are artificially inflating baseline costs, yeah. And with those northern rents resetting the floor at 3.1 million won, it really makes you question if these inflated costs are just Seoul's new permanent baseline.
That's today's AI Prism, Real Estate. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a Won Ifrey award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.